You guys got me? Woo! And obviously I was fascinated. And I mentioned yesterday, he has said a lot of the same things. And I saw some things I had never seen before. I saw him do those interventions, and I was really curious. And so eventually I began going to those events. And back then I just had a digital tape recorder where I would record everything that he was saying. And I would go home at night and I would transcribe by hand. I would type out everything he was saying. And I began to look for patterns. What's the word? Patterns. We talked about pattern recognition. I looked for where he was actually shifting people's focus, and the primary tool for shifting somebody's focus is questions. We talked about that yesterday. And I noticed about 60 to 70% of everything he said from the stage was a question. Why is that? Have we ever got to a place in our life where we said, is this all there is? We all have, haven't we? And so the question we need to ask ourselves is, and he just kept on really hijacking people's focus, which is part of the fate model. It is very, very important to really understand all these linguistic tools. And so language is limited in and of itself, but would it help you to understand some of the things that you might need to say in these conversations to be able to hijack focus and shift meaning? Yes or no? Yes. So that's what this session is all about. I was, learning the sales and, wanting to master NLP, and I was studying all the language patterns, and I was looking for those linguistic tools, and I began to create my own structures and frameworks, and there was a lot that I pulled from, and I want you to think of this session kind of like, who's seen that movie Karate Kid? Wax on, wax off, paint the fence, and there's things that Daniel's son had to do over and over again. He's like, why am I doing this? But these were the linguistic tools. This was the wax on, wax off. This was my process and really understanding language and what I was doing to be able to help people structure different meanings inside of their mind by being a molder of meaning and a breaker and builder of belief. Quick story. 2018, I got to speak at an event in Oslo, and I was basically opening for a guy named Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. You guys know who he is? And I'm a big fan. I'm not hating on him. This is nothing negative against him. I think he's awesome. I think he's brilliant. The things that he teaches, it changed sales. Like, he's a genius. However, when he was speaking, he told two stories that were word for word that were not his stories. And it just triggered something inside of me. And so after he spoke, there was supposed to be a little break, but I went right back up on stage and I put the audience through a series of frames. And by the end of the day, he got no sales, I got all the sales. And so would you like to know what I said? Yes. Because it relates to what we're going to be teaching here today, which is frames. Frames, like actually knowing how to shift someone's frame. And so you guys all walked into this room through a door, which is a door frame. If we all had windows in this room and we looked out the back window, we would see some things, yeah? But if you looked out this window, if you look out your front window of your house versus your back window or your side window, you would see something different. Focus in and of itself is a pattern. We don't experience life, we experience the life we focus on. You, me, all of us. So there's a million things happening in the world right now. Some people think it's at the end of the world, is the economy's bad, there's this thing. Somebody else has a totally different reality because they have a pattern of focus. And so one of the things that we want to know how to do, not only for our clients, but with ourselves, is condition our focus. And just like a muscle, just like our posture, just like our language, we can condition ourselves by really understanding what we're doing with language, not just to say the thing, not to have the perfect language pattern, but to use it as a tool to hijack somebody else's focus in a way that allows them to become more resourceful at getting what they want in their life. And the presupposition you need to have inside of yourself is whatever they've consistently been focusing on isn't serving them. They're focusing on why they can't, why they don't have money, why they don't have time. They have access to those resources inside of them, and so you're not doing this as a technique to hurt somebody, you're doing this to help them understand that there are beliefs inside of them that they picked up from their family, from their life, from their past, from their references and experiences where they created a meaning about life, a meaning about money, a meaning about time, a meaning about relationship, a meaning about failure that might be limiting them. Does this make sense? Yeah. So we're not doing this as a manipulative tool, however, you can. So as Chase talked about with the axe up here, use these wisely, use these ethically. And so I go into this event and I come on stage and I say, wow, give it up for Jordan. That was absolutely amazing. I remember when I learned those things back so long ago. Old versus new. So I'm putting him into a box called old versus new, which is going to prioritize in their mind the new thing because that's how human beings work. You guys with me? Yeah. And I said, while that was so amazing, I've done some things to modify that because let me ask you guys a question. Has the way we communicated today began to change, yes or no? And they were like, yeah, it was an answer like that. I said, guys, who's heard of this thing called email? Who's heard of text messaging? Who's heard of cell phones? Who's heard of the freaking internet? So let me ask you again, has the way we need to communicate today changed? And they said, yes. So I got an emphatic yes that was old without calling it old. Does this make sense? Yes. And he didn't mention the term, so I'm basically saying he didn't tell you everything, but he didn't mention the term, but all of that is really just part of a process called NLP. And while that was a small piece, I don't think it's fair to you that you walk away with only a piece. I think it's best that you have the entire system. So I'm basically minimizing everything he did, and I'd use the physical anchor. That's just a piece of a bigger whole. And I don't think it's fair to you that you only have a piece. So would it be okay with you? And I put that piece in my pocket. And then I said, would it be okay with you if I gave you the whole enchilada so that you can walk out of here completely empowered to not just know what to say, but know how it affects people and how you can really build a life that matters? Like, yes. See what I'm doing? So I'm speaking through a series of frames. And I wrote down all these frames. I mastered these frames. I practiced these frames. And, as Chase was saying yesterday, language is somewhat limited, but a lot of times, too, people don't have confidence because they don't know what to say. So would it be helpful to understand the language of influence, some things that you can recognize the patterns within yourself? You'll see them in copywriting. You'll see them all around. And you'll want to be able to understand not just what to say, but why you're saying what you're saying to really be able to begin the structure of pulling apart beliefs. Does this make sense? Yes. And real quick, I think I might have this on a slide. I'm not really sure, but I just want to go ahead and say it. The way that I think of a belief is like a structure inside somebody's mind. And it has 3 parts. How many parts? 3. Think of it like this. If, then, means. If this, then that. Cause, effect, meaning. If I don't have money, well, then that means that I can't do it. Well, is there anybody in the world, including this government, that is operated still without money? So I can create a reference that's new. Does it make sense? Yes. So, but to understand deep in the structure of somebody's mind, they have certain beliefs that are limiting them around time and money. And so we want to give them access through language to have a different emotion, a different resource where they shift that belief inside of them so they can access more of what's available to them in the world. Does it make sense? Yes. And so I want to take you through this, and I mastered this for other people, but who's the first person whose beliefs I had to change with these language patterns? Yes. And so it's one thing to use a technique. It's one thing to say, hey, what would happen if you did find the money? And use it as a technique. But you really need to believe. Like, you need to do this on yourself so you have that harmonic resonance, you have that congruency. You need to believe some new things around money, some new things around time. You need to believe that anything's possible for you, and if you could be a representation of what's possible for people, you can take that stand, you can be congruent in what you're saying, that's going to mean more to them and to you than anything that you're going to see up here. Does this make sense? Yes. And so I'm going to give you kind of the linguistic tools that I think are super duper useful, and this is the verbal expression of what's happening in these conversations. And so it's one thing to have this long 20-page script, but there's certain moments I talked about yesterday, these belief-shifting moments. And some of it around that might be getting them comfortable, making them feel safe, making them compliant. We're going to talk about that here. Getting them to really be saturated in your 6 axis of everything you're learning here. So a lot of these tools and strategies get people to a place where they're open and responsive enough for us to be able to shift them in a way that actually helps them. Does it make sense? And so I'm going to give you the linguistic tools. Chase is going to give you the gravity behind them, and he's going to go deep into the internal frame structures right after I speak. Sound good? Yes. You guys ready for a powerful morning? Yes. Let's freaking go. All right. So today, this is the language. Yesterday was all about the becoming the pilot, you being in the cockpit. But whether you're, flying in here to Austin or anywhere else, you got some language, you got some code words, you got some things that you say as the pilot that let everybody know, let's lets everybody know what they need to do. Breaker 19, breaker 19, I'm coming in for a landing. There's certain language that you're going to use. This is the language of influence. And so the mouth plus the force. Eli's are going to be teaching you the verbal cues. That's me and my buddy Eli. And then Chase is going to teach you the gravity behind them. So what is a frame? And you think about it, it's this linguistic representation in somebody's mind of how they developed meaning that conditions them to focus on things that are available or not available. I said that we don't experience life, we experience the life that we focus on. And even when you're in a sales conversation, say that you say, hey, it's $10,000, it's $20,000, it's $50,000. And they're thinking, well, I could do this $50,000 thing or I couldn't. And they're thinking about the money leaving their bank account. We don't want them focused on that. And so a lot of times people will even teach, hey, you say the price, it's $30,000, and you shut up. I did that, and I'm not saying this is exactly how you say it. You can do that, and it's better than just rambling. But when I started doing high ticket sales, I said the price, and then I basically paced what they had talked about that they didn't want, and then what they did want. The investment is just 30 grand, and if you choose to move forward, embedded command, if you choose to move forward, we'll get rid of the painful thing so you can have pleasurable thing, time with your family. How does that sound? It sounds like exactly what they told me they wanted. Does it make sense? So it's harder for them to say that they don't want the thing they just told me they wanted. Does it make sense? And so I began to think through, how do I create these associations and how do I shift the frame and shift the meaning based on their language, speaking back into their world, and reframe the meaning reframe the meaning of money, reframe the meaning of time, reframe the meaning of dealing with fear. And so these are the patterns that we walk through that actually help people do that. So real quick, pre-frame, reframe, deframe. And one of the first coaching sessions I had with Tony Robbins, he said this thing to me that just sat with me. He said, outside of the connection that you have with your audience, the second most important thing is the pre-frame. And at the time I was like, what's a pre-frame? And then I spent the next 20 years basically creating systems to create connection and systems for framing. And so this is the framing piece. And you think about this. All of you, anybody here do webinars or presentations, anything like that? Amazing. If not, you should be. They're awesome. It's just like a digital seminar that happens all the time. You get good at these things. You get leads, you get money. You educate people, you indoctrinate them, you use some of these frames in there, and they come to you on a call at a different mindset as if they were cold. They're going to be more open based on what you're doing in that presentation. So presentations are a skill. Do presentations, get good at presentations, master presentations. But all of you, whether you're doing a presentation or a sales call or videos or whatever, all of you have a thing. Like a thing that you sell, a thing that you do. And I know you're the best at your thing. I know you change lives with your thing. I tell people when I'm coaching them, I don't care about your thing. You got a health thing out there, you got a fitness thing, you got a relationship, you got a thing. I'm not all caught up with your thing. But I know there's also people out there that have similar things to you that might be making more money than you, not because of the shiny thing they have, but how they communicate the value of their thing. In this industry that I'm in coaching, there are people out there that I do not think are very good at what they do. But they communicate what they do very, very well, and they make a lot of money. There's other people who, maybe some of you, who are very good at what they do, but they don't communicate the language of influence that well about what they do. And even though they're the best at what they do not make money that represents their skill. Make sense? Yeah. So really you need to have a few skills in order to build a business online. One, you got to understand, you got to be good at what you do. Two, you got to be great at human behavior. And that's what you're learning. And then three, you got to get really good at communicating what you do. Make sense? Yeah. So let's say somebody has their thing. And it's like, oh, here's my thing. I got this awesome thing. And that might be something in your course, something in your program, some belief you're shifting inside of your content or your presentation. And so you could say, hey, here's the thing. But how do we make that thing mean more? How do we pre-frame the lens through which they see your thing? How do we pre-frame the lens through which they see you, so now when they see the thing, they're indoctrinated in the value of the thing? So one of the frames that's not here, write this down, POV, POV. stands for perception of value. And so a lot of, when you go on the news, when you watch, political speakers, it's the perception. They're shaping perception really, really well. You guys with me? Yes. POV, not point of view, but perception of value. So here's an example of what a preframe might sound like. Let me think of a good one here. I'm about to share something with you that literally nobody has had the courage to talk about in this industry. And the reason nobody else is going to teach you this is because, one, they don't know it, or two, they know it, but they don't want you to know it. This took me 10 years to figure out, and over $100,000 worth of my own money. However, I know you cannot survive without it, so I want to give it to you now. And the thing is X. So instead of just saying, hey, I want to teach you about X, I said, I'm going to share something with you, so there's a language of reciprocity, that no one else teaches. So that's called category of one. I'm going to show you something you can't get anywhere else. And the reason why no one else is going to teach you this, I said, one, because they don't know it, so I'm calling my competition dumb. Or two, they know it, but they don't want you to know it. I'm calling them unethical. And I put it into a binary, so in your mind that it moves so fast, you have to unconsciously choose that it's one of those two buckets. Does it make sense? Yes. And now I attach a value to it. This took me 10 years to figure out, and over $100,000 worth of my own money. Now I attach time and money value to it. And now I raise the stakes. However, I know you cannot survive without it, so I want to give it to you now. Reciprocity. So I did about 6, 7 things in about 12 seconds. And now, whatever the thing is that I'm going to teach you or share with you, I've shaped the perception of the value of the thing. And it could be tracking your macros or whatever it is. Like it's your shiny thing. And so I'm more interested in how you communicate what you believe about your thing to shape the perception of value so you can charge more for your thing. Does this make sense? Yes? And by the way, in this session, I'm going to give you lots of examples like this. So are you guys paying attention? Yes. All right, don't miss anything here. All right, so this is framed. So I'm going to go through I'm going to expand on some of my favorite ones. And so I think of it here like cause, effect, meaning, if this means. And so people say, I don't have money, so it means I can't move forward. Well, have you ever been in a position where you didn't have money, but you still found a way? We all have, haven't we? And then I can begin to play with that. What happens when, have you ever run out of money before? Were you able to find more? Yeah, what happens when you run out of time? You don't get any more. So time is infinitely more valuable than money. So we'll talk about this too, kind of this hierarchy of values. Like inside of you, we talked about our value system yesterday. All of us are a representation of our value system. We all believe things like health is important, family is important, love is important, baby Jesus is important. All these things are super important, but when it comes time for you to do things in your life, there's a hierarchy of value. And so we choose the most important thing, and we know that somebody's life is screwed if they're always choosing at the highest level, personal safety, security. Like their life is going to be very, very limited, yes? So somebody that has issues with money, oftentimes it's not just a skill gap, it's a value system gap. And so we can say things like, isn't it more important? We can create this hierarchy of values and know that inside somebody's mind and nervous system, they've been conditioned a certain value system that may be picked up from their past or their references or their family or whatever that is no longer supporting them. Does it make sense? So I don't say that, but that's the deal, Banana Appeal. And so 14 patterns. Take notes like a treasure map. One, like I did here with Gigi yesterday, I said, what's your name? I said, how do you know? I gaslit her, yeah. So a good bit of gaslighting with this. So also though, remember what Chase said, it's the intent. And so the intent in using these is to truly first serve someone. But yeah, these are all linguistic tools that can be used for bad or good. And so reality strategy, how do you know? How do you know you can't afford it? How do you know that you don't have time? How do you know that you need to talk to somebody? How do you know? So that's just something I look for. And when I ask you about anything, how do you know? You need to go inside of your mind and go back to those references. Well, how do you know that you can't? Okay, and I might assign the blame to a person. I'm curious, who taught you to think that way? What would be possible if you didn't think that way? When did you start thinking that way? And what were the results of the person that taught you that? And is that what you want? Did you realize that you could choose a different reality for yourself? How do you know that you can't? And now they have to defend the fact that they can't. And they don't own it because somebody else gave it to them. You see what we're starting to do? We're starting to open up these portals. Yep. And by the way, you're going to go through this initially. I'm giving you the structure, but it's not paint by numbers. And so when you see somebody masterful at communication, they've mastered the structures. When you're first starting out, it's like paint by numbers. But if you buy some art and it's like paint by numbers, it's not very valuable, yes? And so there's a structure to it, but the best influence happens when you can utilize and customize things in the moment, like you see Chase doing, reading the person, putting that into the pattern, but the linguistic representation sounds a lot like this, based on the structure of influence. You guys with me, yes? Yes. Awesome. And so model the world. So I'm going to go through, and I'll lean into my favorite ones, so you'll see my favorite ones. This one's okay. Some people believe the opposite. So I'm getting them associated to, some people believe the opposite. And what I began to do is take some of these and these are like the one-liners, but they need to all fit together. So somebody might say, I don't have money. Well, I can appreciate that money might be an issue for you, like not attacking them. But let me ask you a question. If you don't do something about this now, isn't it just going to cost you more money in the future? So the real question is, how can we get resourceful to help you find the money so you're not in the same spot next year? Because you don't want to be in the same spot next year, do you? I understand that your resources might be a bit limited, but isn't your intention to get to a better place? Your real intention isn't to keep the money you have. Your real intention is to learn a system so you never have to worry about money again. That's the real intention, isn't it? See what I'm doing? I can make it like a nominalization. So I can make it a thing. It might sound like this. It sounds like, based on what you've told me, you have certain patterns around money. So it's not you, I'm creating this thing. You have certain patterns. And while there's patterns that make him very, very successful, we can teach you those. I found in working with folks, there's also patterns that keep us stuck. There's also patterns that limit us. And I hear some of those patterns in you right now. And I want to help you break them, if you'll let me. Because this isn't anything I can do to you. I can just show you the door. Do you want to have a better life for you and your family, yes or no? So now I moved it over to something outside of them, off money, and onto a pattern. And while there's patterns that make people very, very successful, there's also patterns, some of the ones that you're experiencing now, that really cause people to struggle. And I want to help you break those right now. Remember superior? Right now, if you'll let me. And then I soften and win inferior to give them their power back. Does this make sense? So we're combining a bunch of stuff. And so model the world. Counterexample, has there ever been a time where you did the opposite? Has there ever been a time where you didn't have money but you still found a way? So I'm helping them anchor to a reference inside of their life in the past. And we've all done that at some point in our life. True or false, yeah? All human beings have. Yes or no? Yes. Say, come on, yes or no? Yes. Wake up! Let's go. So intent, this is one that I use a lot. I'm sure your intention isn't. Like say even, like somebody might be kind of a douche to me, you know, or like say somebody says something negative. Well, I'm sure your intention isn't to make me feel bad, is it? Now, that's also apply to self. I throw it back at them. So, you know, if somebody's being mean, you can always just label it as an intention. Well, it seems like, you know, and I'm sure your intention isn't because that's not who you are, is it? Make sense? Yes. So I can relabel and reframe their intention. You know, it sounds like your intention is to kind of protect yourself. And maybe that's been your pattern for the last 10 years, but I can't imagine that's the life you want, is it? See what I'm doing? Yes. So we're going surface, source, self, and we're doing it really, really fast. Redefine. It's not this, it's that, and here's what that means. It's not that you don't have money, it's simply that you don't have the skills to get money from the market anytime you want. It's not this, it's that. And so this also relates to what I created, you know, probably 8-9 years ago. It's symptom versus cause. You not having money is that an issue or is that the symptom of a deeper issue? Oh, it's the symptom. See what we're doing? So we're going from source to self. Yes? You guys with me? Yes? Yes. And we're doing it fast. So it's basically, it's not this, it's that, and here's what that means. It's not that you don't have money. It's just that you've not been able to access the right language that we can teach you so you're able to get more money from the market. Because if you had those skills, you'd have more what? Money. So the real question is, see what we're doing? Yes. I know it's moving fast. And so consequence, this is, in every sales script, there's some kind of consequence question, but it's basically just a language pattern. I gave you the one a little while ago, consequence. If you don't do something about this now, isn't it just going to cost you more money in the future? So the real question is, redirect their focus. How can we get resourceful to find the money so you're not in the same spot next year? Because you don't want to be in the same spot next year, do you? Make sense? Yes. And I'm going through these quite fast just so we can get through them, but I would say them with a bit more empathy and certainty and pace, and there'd be all the connection voodoo in there too, but just for time constraints, I'm just giving them to you. Is that cool? Yeah. Cool? Yeah. Awesome. And in a couple weeks, we're actually doing a training where I'm going to show you examples of where these are in calls. We're doing like a private training. Some of you will be invited. And it's unbelievable to see these in real time. But just based off what you're learning here, you'll look around. And whether it's copywriting or videos or this politician speaking or some, whatever, you're going to recognize it's all the frame. And anytime you find yourself feeling disempowered or like not in control of your life, know that someone has installed a frame in your mind. And now this is going to allow you to not be reactive to the emotion if you feel overwhelmed or stressed or disempowered. Just know that you're running a pattern in your mind. Like there are no limits. There are no limits to your life. There's no limits to your mind. But a lot of times too, we've had linguistic representations of something that somebody said to us or a meaning that we've created that have lowered our vibe. Shame, apathy, guilt, fear. And so this is a way for you to take that, realize it's a thing, it's not your identity, and then begin to condition, what's the word? Condition a new thought. You can call it affirmations, whatever you want. But for me, when I really felt stuck, I would write these things out. I would say them over and over again. I had certain things that I would say to myself every single day before my presentations, and it made a really big impact on me. And I knew as I was saying things, like I wanted to say these words to myself where I needed myself to believe it. In order to change, whether it's your bicep vein. You guys see my bicep vein yesterday? Yeah. Huh? It's pretty good, huh? That's all I wanted you to see. Don't worry, later the jacket's coming back off. And so there's just a matter of conditioning, conditioning, repetition. And so these are things that you want to condition in your own linguistics so you can say them automatically based on what you have there. Like a martial artist, you're able to move around it. And it's not paint by numbers, but you can have access and choice in your communication because you know your outcome. We talked about that yesterday. To know wherever you want to go in life, it's just the quality of your life is the quality of your communication with others and people. Like the people that are doing really big things in the world, they have a way of communicating. And so these patterns, not just for others, but for themselves, give them more choice. And so I want you to know this way of communicating with yourself and others starts from a presupposition, like an assumed positive thought that anything's possible. Like anything's possible through communication. How you communicate with others and yourself. Are you guys getting it? Yes. Awesome. And so consequence. Sometimes you have to use a consequence on yourself. Hey, if I don't go to the gym today, I'm going to be a fatty. I'm going to look awful. I'm going to feel like crap. If I eat this thing, it's going to cost me. And so do these things on yourself. Hierarchy of criteria. This is one I use a lot. So you guys heard me do it. Isn't it more important? Everybody say that out loud. Isn't it more important? I can appreciate X, Y, Z, but isn't it more important? So if they say yes, I'm getting them to agree that my thing is more important than the thing they've been focusing on. Make sense? Yes. I can appreciate that money's a bit of a concern and that it feels a bit risky, but isn't it more important as an entrepreneur to take calculated risk? Because the most successful people in the world, model the world pattern, do you think they got there by taking no risk and playing small, or actually betting on themselves because they believed? Well, of course it's that. Why do you say that? Then they got to defend the belief I wanted them to have. Does this make sense? Yes? Are you guys with me? Yes? Yes. I know we're moving quick. So isn't it more important? Say it one more time. And so that's one of my favorites right there. I said I'd expand on the ones that I really like. Metaframe, this one's okay, but it's basically, you guys understand this one? It's like the thing behind the thing. That's how I explained it to myself. It's like you only have that belief because somebody gave it to you. You only have that belief because in your world, you've not had access to. So I can change this way of thinking about the thing. So they've got this belief, they've got this thought, this feeling, this experience, but they only have that because of some other thing. It's like the thing around the thing that created the thing, and so I'm deframing the thing around the thing. Make sense? Got it. You guys got it. Changing frame size. I gave you the example of, even with like a physical anchor with the Wolf of Wall Street when I came out, I said that's just a small piece of a bigger whole. So I collapsed his thing inside of my thing. So if everyone thought that way, what would happen? And so that's chunking it up. If everyone, who wanted to have more in their life thought that way, it'd be very hard for anybody to be successful. Do you agree with that? And so I'm changing the frame size. And I call this also like expanding to the ridiculous. It's like somebody says they want to, make some change in their life. They're like, oh, but I need to put this thing off. Okay, why not put it off for 10 years? Why not put it off for 20 years? That would be ridiculous, wouldn't it? Here's the truth. The truth is you're just a little bit scared. And we all feel that way. I felt that way, but that's not how you want to live the next 5 years, is it? So the real question is, and so I can change the frame size, I can change the meaning, I can, basically collapse time, through these frames. Change frame size. Boom. Disassociation. We've talked about this quite a bit. Who's got a definition of disassociation? Who's got a good definition for me? Kisma, what's the definition of disassociation? While I have a sip of my coffee.
From a current reality and experiencing another definition.
Yeah. So here's a linguistic tool. The mind often plays tricks on us. Have you ever believed something in your life? Like you knew it was true? Like you were so emotional, like maybe you thought somebody said something and you're like, how could they say that? Like, how could they do that? And you're really pissed off. We all had that experience? And then you found out later they didn't say it. Have there been things in your life that you believed that you knew were true and it just completely resolved your reality and then you found out later it wasn't true? Santa Claus. We've all had those beliefs. I wonder, hopefully there's no kids here. I'm sorry. And some of you are like, what? Are you serious? And so it's funny, we look back on that now and we realize that was just a childish way of thinking. I wonder what beliefs 10 years from now you'll look back on today and realize they were just as silly. It was a fantasy and make-believe. And so many other people have that around money and time, not realizing that if they just had the skill, they'd be able to free themselves and have a whole new reality. See what we're doing? Disassociation, the mind. Yeah, those thoughts. That way of thinking. And we can make it old. Yeah, all successful people always get on stage and they talk about the times that things were hard and they realize what stopped them was a way of thinking and a way of believing. Some people get there young, some people get there older, and some of us just need to decide that this is our time to make it happen. I wonder when it'll happen for you, but if you're open to looking at the mind differently, if you're open to looking at sales, business, entrepreneurship, your health differently, I can offer you a different way, a different perspective. Would that be okay? See what I'm doing? There's a bunch, So I'm giving you kind of the paint by numbers here, but it's an art, yeah? Like I don't have a script right now, yeah? I'm not reading a script. But I'm thinking, and there's things that I can do connecting the group. There's so many things you can do with these, but it's art. It's art. And you can make really crappy art, or you can make really nice art. And eventually, like all great art started at bad art, yes? And so that's why we have Eli taking you some of these tools, because you're doing a lot of this already. But as I said on day one, quality of your life is the quality of your communication, and it's hard to communicate with certainty when you know what you're saying, but you don't even know why you're saying what you're saying. Does it make sense? Yes. So now I'm kind of giving you both at the same time. And you guys are a very smart group. Even the fact that you're participating and you're so engaged right now is so helpful. And so I'm going to show you later on some ways that we can actually train you in this. Would it be reasonable for you to actually want to further your education so you can actually help more people? Would it be reasonable for me to ask you that? What? Hey, you know, that's you, you know? Isn't this fun? It's fun. You know, and it's like people too will say this stuff. Like, so here's the thing, I'm about to kill an objection right now. You guys ready for it? People are like, oh, this is hard. You know, I'm not asking you to juggle while riding a unicycle. I tell people, like, somebody be like, oh, so I'm like, you fucking talk every day. I'm asking you to do things that you do every day. Like, you're already doing the thing. You're already doing it. This isn't learning a new skill like riding a unicycle. It's you just getting better at the thing that you're already doing. And in order for you to be more successful, like, you need to do more of the thing that you're already doing, but you just need to do the thing better. And that thing is called communication. Not just your thing, how you communicate your thing. Does it make sense? Yes. And so you're already doing it. It's nothing new, but a new way of doing the thing that you're already doing so that you can have a new quality of life, a better quality of life. And that's what we want, isn't it? Yes? You guys with me? Isn't this fun? He's doing the thing. He's doing the thing. Disassociation. That's actually a good thing. So, you know, it's interesting too. On day one, and I recognized it as I was saying it, knowing that I was going to teach you guys, I said, hey, you know, you're going to get a lot of information here, and there might be a time where you feel a little bit overwhelmed, like this is a lot. We've all felt that before, yes? I said, if you experience that, that's actually a good thing. And because I said that, I got you to realize that anytime that you feel a little bit overwhelmed, that just means that your mind has reached the limit of its capacity and you're about to have a breakthrough. You're about to expand your way of thinking because you didn't come here to just have certainty and repeat things that you already know. You came here to see and experience and learn things that you didn't know, to expand your reality. And so anytime you feel a little overwhelmed or a little confused, that's a what? A good thing. And so I'm labeling and creating an experience, a meaning around the future experience you're going to have before you like tune out. Like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I had to create a pre-frame around the thing you're going to experience, because anytime that all human beings, model the world, all human beings, they reach a limit of their capacity. And there's the ones that collapse and the ones that break through. And I don't think you came here just to collapse. You came here to lean into your edges. You came here to expand your reality through the way you communicate with others and yourself so you can create better lives for other people. That's why we're here, isn't it? So I'm speaking through frames. You guys get it? He's doing a thing. He's doing a thing. And I got no script here. I got no script. That's actually a good thing. Be like, I'm a bit nervous. Well, that's actually a good thing. If you weren't nervous, that would show us that it didn't matter to you. The fact that you're a little scared right now means that you're going to take this more seriously than most, and you're going to get better results than most. So I'm creating a positive intention to the thing they're feeling. Make sense? That's actually a good thing. Everybody say it. That's actually a good thing. It is a good thing, you know? And think about what that, like, if you truly believe that, like, imagine this, just aside from a pattern. Imagine if in your mind you condition this pattern, this focus, that everything that came up, imagine if you really believe that. Everything that was a good thing. Hey, this person just canceled. That's actually a good thing. You know, hey, this thing happened in the world. That's actually a good thing. Like, imagine if you really believe that. Do you think it would change who you are? Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's like, that's going to be really challenging. And, you know, I tell this story sometimes. Some of you probably heard it. I went to, so when I work with Tony, you know, with this FSR job, we live in different cities all over the place. And I was in San Jose, California, and I got invited to this, you guys know, have you ever heard of Singularity University? It's like these like really smart, like it was young kids, and I get invited to one from a friend. It's on the campus of Google bought it, but it's at NASA basically. And there was this building with a think tank and all these young people, and I ended up meeting this girl, and we started dating. So I got to go to all the classes. It was super cool, and I got to stay there on campus and everything. It was awesome. And I'm at this event, and I meet this guy who was on stage that day, and he talks about going to outer space. And he had this whole talk. I was like, oh, it's so cool. Later that night, he lived in San Francisco, and he lived like on this like ship. Like it was like an abandoned ship. It just had this just a really cool life. It was just an awesome guy. And we were talking, and he was in pretty good shape. And I was working out, bicep vein, and we were talking, and he was like, I was like, man, you're in such good shape. And he goes, you should have seen me, a year ago. I got so skinny up when I was in space. And I was like, what? Why'd you get skinny? And he was like, well, I was in space. Duh. Guys, why did he get skinny in space? So what you're telling me is because he had no consistent demands being placed upon him, he became weak. So while we're here today, is it okay if I make some demands on you, if I challenge you, if I put some pressure on you, so that you can walk out of here stronger for your family and your life? Is that okay, yes or no? Yes. So I'm putting it in your best interest that I'm going to challenge you. And I put it inside of a story. And it's a true story. And so isn't that interesting? And in that moment, just like from my life, I created a bit. I created a reframe. And so in order to do this, you need to have two things. One, the language, the training, but also a life where you go out there and you make positive sense out of your negative experiences, good or bad, or even just your general life experiences. And so for you to look at the negative things in your life, it becomes really, really powerful when you heal, you reframe your own mind, and you share that perspective. That becomes your content. That becomes your life. Nobody cares about the story of the person who had everything work out great. The fact that you have experienced challenges, you've had fear, makes you more relatable. It really is a good thing. It's not just a language pattern, but sometimes it takes some time to work on that. Some of you know my story. I was voted the quietest kid in high school. I didn't really start speaking until I was in 4th grade. I had a really abusive home. I probably would have been labeled autistic by today's standards. Really weird kid. But I make up for that shit now. Talking. And thank you. And so when I see somebody struggle to articulate their words, or I see them go behind their eyes or fear, like, man, it's no joke. I feel like I understand. Like, I get it. Do you think it makes me a worse coach or a better coach? Better. Yeah. So it's a good thing. Yeah. But also that version of me isn't controlling me today. I use my story. I don't let my story use me. And sometimes with this language and the way we communicate ourselves, you have to be able to create that distinction for yourself. Language is the bridge. And you do it enough. It's like you've heard the classic line, you tell a lie long enough, strong enough, intense enough, people begin to believe it. That was Hitler. And some of us have a limited world because of the lies we tell ourselves. And so you rewriting your story, re-scripting, consistency and emotion. And this is kind of the framework to break beliefs within your own mind, but to know that we all have these structures, if then means. If I stand up and speak and I look bad, it means that, I'm a failure, whatever it is, but you have to let go of that. And rewriting out your beliefs and creating new beliefs with this structure is first going to help you, but then also you'll use it to help other people because it'll be real. Make sense? Yes. Awesome. 2 types of people. This is binaries. And I think I gave you guys one yesterday when I was here. I gave you the example of somebody on a sales call, like an Eeyore situation. They're like in a bad mindset. They got like this, well, things always, I've tried everything, yeah. Well, and yet here you are. So many people just give up. The fact that you're here means that you're the type of person who doesn't give up. Have you always been that way? Or is that something you developed over time? Oh no, I've always been that way. So I took his negative thing, well, I've tried everything, I don't think this is work. Yeah, so many people just give up. And then I said, you're somebody, I gave him a positive label, you're someone who never gives up. And then I immediately put him in a binary attached to identity. Have you always been that way? Or is that something you developed over time? Either way, he agrees, and he's reinforcing the fact that he is the type of person who never gives up. Do you think that makes it less likely or more likely that he's going to move forward here? More likely. Are you guys getting it? Say I'm getting it. Yes. Awesome. 2 types of people. So we use this all the time. And you'll see an example of here, but we want to get them anchored in the identity. My buddy Will Hinkinson, he calls it the 2 camps. The 2 camps. Yeah, typically there's 2 camps of people. There's people that come to events like this and they're just kind of looking for some ideas, maybe a little inspiration, and they just go back to their normal way of being. And then there's people that really want to master things. There's people that really want to actually use these things, get trained to actually be able to help people. And either one's fine, but I'm curious, which one of those camps feels more kind of like you? Which one do you think people say? Which one would you guys say? Of course. Do you guys get it, yes? Can you guys do this? Yes. Are you sure? Absolutely. Awesome. All right. See? And now see? All right. 2 types of people. Hypothetical close. If money, so that, I guess because it's like it's just been so used. I hear this all the time, and I don't know why. Like, you can use what I'm about to say. I don't like to use it though. People say, oh, money aside, money aside, money aside. So I have to be careful in my linguistic choices because, like, I'm an expert. And if I say things that everybody else says that is really common, like, Jordan Belfort or whatever, then it kind of minimizes my thing. But you can say that, just so you know, money aside. However, just like, Eli talking about yesterday, the why without the why, instead of saying why, interrogating somebody, okay, what makes you say that? So we want to be a bit more creative in our language. And I said on day 1, a tactic shown is a tactic blown. And if you do have a market, like if you have an internet marketing crowd, like for me, my whole career, like I said, I was selling salespeople that knew I was there to sell that didn't want to be sold. So if I said, John, I know how you feel. And many other people have found the same thing, like feel, felt, found, It's like, I can't do those things. And so we want to be a bit more creative in what we're doing and not just have a script, but, in the linguistic tool, we can have some variance in it, but a clear outcome of what we're doing and the beliefs that we're breaking and the meaning that we're molding. Make sense, yeah? Yes. You guys with me, yeah? Yes. Awesome. So hypothetical close, money aside, if you did have the money, would you do it? That's good, If money weren't an issue, is this something you would even do? Guys, who here's, I know Max, you're familiar with sales. Why is this so powerful though? Why is this so powerful? Max, tell us, why is this so powerful?
I would say it gets them out of focusing on the price and the actual cost and getting them to the result, the end result.
Yeah, that. And guys, with objections, there's real objections. Like some people really do have money issues. That doesn't mean they can't buy. They might have limited resources, but I remind myself every day, there are people that run races that don't have legs. Like people, if they have the right desire, they fucking do shit and they don't let stuff stop them. And who are we to limit somebody? Say, oh, I understand. When I signed up for that Tony Robbins event, it was twice my fucking rent. I could have said, I don't have money, but I wouldn't be here with you today. I can't imagine what my life would look like. Somebody didn't let me off the hook, and that's why I'm here with you guys today. And so who am I to project my limitation on somebody else? And who are you? But we do want to give them the tools and the availability to do it. However, if you are handling somebody's objection with something like this, because they just said, I don't have money, well, if money weren't the issue, would you do it? Why is this so powerful? 1, you might get an objection sometimes. That's a smoke screen. What's the word? Smoke screen. It's a knee-jerk reaction. You go into a store, hey, can I help you find something? No, thanks, just looking. We all do these things. Hey, there's people that have like hundreds of millions of dollars. You ask them to do it, like, money's kind of tight. What does that even mean? There's people that have literally like $200,000 worth of credit card debt, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. Vegas. Yes or no? It's 100%. And so that person's got some other patterns going on, but, how do we know? But at the same time, what happens for a lot of salespeople is they get a money objection per se, and then they handle the money objection. But it might not be a money objection. It might be an uncertainty-based objection. And so there's a syntax for even how you want to think through objections. Say you're at the end of the call and somebody says they can't do it for whatever reason. I'm just curious, if money weren't the issue, would you do it? Because they might just be saying it's money, and then if you handle money and they still don't do it. Anybody had that experience? Because they didn't believe the thing. So I could ask one of you, it's like, hey, do you feel like this could get you where you want to go? And then, yeah, I think so. Okay, let's do it. It's, $1 million. It's $200,000. Well, money's kind of tight. But they weren't sold on the thing. Hey, does this sound like something that can get you where you want to go? Yes. Like, okay, so you're saying that, this is the right thing and this is the right time, but money is the one thing. Am I hearing you correctly? So we want to separate uncertainty-based objections from real objections. Hey, scale of 1 to 10, does this sound like something that can get you where you want to go? How do you feel about the process? Money aside, like if money were an issue, how do you feel about the process? How do you feel about the training? How do you feel about the thing? Well, it's amazing. Money's just an issue. Okay, so if money were an issue, you're saying that you would do it right now. See what we're doing? So I'm tying them down that they believe that they have certainty in the thing. Because if they don't believe your thing is the thing that can help them do the thing, they're just going to keep on giving you objections. So we've got to differentiate between uncertainty-based objections and real objections. Make sense? Because they're going to say, well, it's like, and then they're going to bring up something else. Yep.
Thanks. Eli, I wonder if this one, yesterday Chase talked about like when the telemarketer call would immediately turn on the app. This one in particular, I go right there. When with money was the issue, I immediately go, get immediately a visceral response to this one when I got it,
Yeah, so I'm giving you just the frame. There's other ways that we can do it.
Just like the magic with magic wand, the same thing. When I hear that, I'm like, I immediately shut down.
Yeah, so it's like I'm just giving you the structure of it. There's other ways to get to it, and based on your market, based on the avatar, there's different ways you want to get to it. But all I'm saying is, with a hypothetical, like some of these two, they've been played out. So you've been exposed to it so much, you're desensitized to it. So you need to know your market, and that's why I said for me, I couldn't say the same things everybody else is saying. But it might sound like this hypothetical close. They're like, yeah, money's kind of tight. Well, do you believe that this can help you? Does this sound like something that can alignment? Am I hearing you right that it's really just a money thing? But I'm curious, how do you feel about the process? And I'm anchoring them back on the process. So I might not say money aside or any of that stuff like magic wand, but I'm getting them, how do you feel about the process? Do you think the process would actually help you? I can appreciate that money's a concern, but how do you feel about the process? And then based on their response, I know they're not sold on the process, so no objection handling is going to work. And then do I need to go back into here and re-explain some things in the process? Make sense? Yep. So it might not sound like I'm just giving you a linguistic tool so you understand it. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't say those things, but I'm giving you guys an example of common things. No questions yet. We're going to do VIP session later, and I'm going to crank through all these because we got a bunch. Is that cool? Awesome. And so we got 22 minutes to get to a bunch of these. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right, let's go. Hypothetical close. But that's how I think about it. We just want to get them tied down on the thing. It's certainty-based close versus, like uncertainty-based objection versus real objection. And then if they do give you something like a money objection, but they're 100% sure, they're 100% in, it's just money, well, we could break it up. Would that help you? Would it make it easier if you could pay less today? Obviously, yeah. Like, who's going to say no to that? So instead of paying in this, you pay a fraction of that. Would that make it easier? So that's contextually ambiguous. Of course it would make it easier, yeah? If money's an issue and you could pay less, that at least makes it easier. There's no way they're going to say no to that. Or you have no rapport. You have no connection with the people. They don't trust you. And then sometimes you're going to get people get combative because there's no real connection. You've had a surface level conversation. You haven't gone deep. And these things keep on coming up because you didn't go deep enough. Does it make sense? They don't feel aligned. Because that also triggers a lot of this stuff. They don't feel safe. They don't feel safe. At the beginning of the sales call, to know behind that mask, they want to feel safe. And most people don't feel safe on a sales call. So it's not about getting rapport through talking about cats and dogs and the time when you were in Minnesota or baseball or any of that stuff. It's the nervous system stuff that you're going to learn from Chase in the next session. Cool? Yes. Very powerful. Hypothetical close. Apply to self. Saying you're not a risk taker is the biggest risk, the riskiest thing that we can say. So this is apply to self. I'm not, crazy about this one, but applying to self, taking the thing and applying it to them in a way or to yourself is something we can do to kind of reframe or deframe that belief. Saying that you don't have money all the time, what has that limited you from? Yeah, that pattern of always saying you can't afford things, that keeps you from actually accessing the resources to be able to get the training you need that would have you, have the life you want. Always saying that we can't afford things is the most expensive thing that we can say. Applying it back to itself. Make sense? Yes? Frame pushback. So this is an example of a binary. There's 2 slides here. Well, there's 2 types of people. The first says I don't have the money. The first says I don't have the money, so I'll stay where I am. The second says, how do I get resourceful enough to make this work? Which one of the people do you think gets the results they want faster? Person A or person B? What would you guys say? Which one gets there faster? They say, well, person B. Okay, what makes you guys say that though? The person who becomes resourceful to go after what they want instead of just limiting themselves, you said they get there faster. Why do you guys say that? Because they own it. So we're talking about other people. So it doesn't feel that direct. So I push back, what makes you say that though? Like you don't need to think that way. What makes you say that? And I get you to own that. And so I think it's on my, one of my next slides, but in every conversation, this also relates to the framing of identities. In every conversation, even this one now, I think of it as there's basically 4 entities. I think I just put 3 on one of the slides, but there's 4 entities. How many entities? 4. So think about it like this. There's me. Everybody say me. Me. There's you. Point to me and say you. You. There's we. And there's they. Let's say I'm even telling a story. I really struggled. And now there's a personal story that creates some vulnerability where there's a connection to me. And now I'm going to relate it to all of you guys. I really struggled with XYZ. And if we're honest, I think we all do. I think we all go through things in our life that are hard. But you need to realize that you're more than anything that could ever happen to you. And you're going to have people out there, us versus them, who will tell you you're not worthy. You're going to have people out there, it could be the school system, could be the government, could be the parents, could be people in your life that have stopped you. But you need to realize there's nothing that can stop you once you know how. And you're here because you're figuring out how, but now it's up to you to take action with what you've learned. Vulnerable moment, relate us all, I create an enemy, and then I bounce it back to you with a call to action. Make sense? I know that's kind of like, you're like, whoa. I'm doing a bunch of things at once, yes? A bunch of things. Everybody say a bunch of things. A bunch of things. And so this is the artistry of it. But these are frames, and when I'm talking through this, it's called a referential index in NLP. Like I, we, they. So it's things that I can do with language to be able to create these frames in your mind, also a sense of connection. Make sense? Awesome. And so pushback, so let's just finish this one. There's 2 types of people. That's a binary. There's people that do nothing, and there's people that do something with what they have. Which one do you think gets more out of life? Obviously, it's the person that does something with what they have. Like, hey, what makes you say that? Now I get you to own it. What makes you say that? You don't need to think that way. Well, I know I got to do this and that. And then consequence. Well, what happens if you stay in the first camp? What happens if you stay thinking the way that you were thinking before you came to this? Well, if you keep telling yourself that, you don't have the money, what's going to happen? Well, and they say, well, I'll just stay in the same spot. Well, that's not what you want, isn't it? So what decision do you need to make right now to put you, your family, in the best possible position so that when you go to bed tonight, you look in the mirror, you know you've done all that you can. What decision you need to make today to make that more possible? So you guys probably heard something like that before. You guys, yes? Some of you, I know, have heard this a lot. But you see that we're combining all those patterns. Yes? Yes. Is this good stuff? Oh, yeah. All right. Best interest frame. This is one I use all the time. And I did it when I did that example of the NASA story. You guys remember that? I was speaking through a best interest frame. When I would do my FSR presentation, when I was, going to these companies, I'd open up the room and I got these people giving me the stink eye because I'm, selling salespeople. And I framed everything that I was going to do. I was going to challenge them. I framed it all in their best interests. Think about this session today, kind of like a personal training session. You guys ever been to the gym, got a personal trainer? Think of me like your trainer. And we could go to the gym and lift the little pink and silver and green weights in the corner, or we could lift the big, heavy, ugly ones, the ones that feel hard and put more demands on you. Which one do you think is going to build more strength? The hard one, yeah? So is it okay with you if I speak from my heart? If I say some things to you that might make you feel uncomfortable so that you can walk out of here a stronger person for yourself and your family? Is that okay with you, yes or no? Yes. Are you sure? So I'm framing the fact that I'm going to ask you to do hard things in your best interest. Yes? Yes. And that's also creating a seed, right? A subtle seed in the beginning of my presentation, because guess what I'm going to do at the end of the presentation? I'm going to ask them to do a really hard thing called what? Investing in themselves. And if people have never invested in themselves, that's hard for them to do. So I'm empathetic to it. I'm not like, oh, you're broken, you're broke, that stuff. It's like, hey, I know that's hard to do. I've been there, and I really have. It's hard to bet on yourself when you don't believe in yourself. But the only reason that people bet on themselves is because they believe. They believe that horse is going to win. They believe that team's going to win. And they're willing to take a little bit of risk. They're willing to put something on the line. But I'm asking them not to bet on a team because they got Tom Brady and good stats. I'm getting them to access something in themselves to build a belief that they can do it. And that right there, the certainty you have, to bet on yourself, that is so powerful. You think about somebody, maybe they bet on this UFC fight, the Strickland guy. Do you guys see that fight? It's a good fight the other day, But it's I imagined myself when I first saw UFC, I was like, man, imagine if I was had to be the one in the ring, would I bet on myself? It's whew. If I saw this perceptual position of myself kind of going to the gym, I wake up, I brush my teeth, and I was this 30,000 foot view of Eli, man, would I bet on that guy? And I was whew, man, I don't know if I'd bet on that guy. And I had to really look at what that guy was not only doing, but thinking and believing. And I knew, getting outside of myself, looking down, I need to change those thoughts. I need to change that internal language. I need to condition that so that's become somebody worth betting on. Because if I'm not going to bet on me, nobody else is going to bet on me. You guys with me, yes or no? Yes. And so this is a way of thinking, of challenging yourself so that you have the confidence. And confidence comes from putting yourself on the line. Results, learning all this stuff, it's not so much that it takes time, though it does. It takes courage. It takes courage to bet on yourself. It takes courage to go out there and mess things up, to role play, to not get it perfect. It's not easy. So I respect it, but I also know that it's possible for you. True or false? Awesome. And so, best interest frame. By the way, that was one big best interest frame, was it not? Huh? He's doing the thing. He's doing the thing. Yes? Awesome. So, linking phrases. So you think about it too, and you probably heard, if you've been in sales, you probably heard there's features and there's benefits. Features and benefits. What's the word? Features and benefits. And so you think about the things that you offer in your offer. I know that's redundant, but we got these 12 modules. We got these 18,000 hours of programming, whatever it is that's in your thing that you're selling. They don't care about your thing. They care about how it benefits them. So when you're speaking with somebody, they've got their adjectives, they got the descriptive language around what they want that links to their values, like who they want to be. And so how do we take your thing and create an association to the thing they want? Does this make sense? Yes. I gave the example yesterday when I talked about the pitch that I did for Tony, creating your own economy. I'm selling freedom, and I created that association from freedom, high value, to the thing I was selling, business mastery. So I'm creating that association. Make sense? Yes. So the linking phrases, this is the kindergarten of it, and most people just feature dump. We got this and this and this. If you take this and not just think of it as a linguistic tool like a script, but think about what they said they want on the call and then be able to link and associate that to your thing. Make sense? So it might sound like this: so that, in order to, allows you to be able to, means to you. Hey, you guys want to make sure you write this down so that you can actually practice this later, which will allow you to begin the process of mastery, which means you'll be able to help a heck of a lot more people and make a heck of a lot more money. And that is what you want, isn't it? Make sense? So I just created an association through many chains of getting you to do the thing I want you to do, asking for compliance, write this down, so that thing allows you to thing, which means to you thing. And that is what you want, isn't it? Agreement tied up. Make sense? Yes. And so the thing, instead of saying thing, I'm associating it to what they told me want so that you can spend more time with your family. And that's all positive stuff. I can also do it negative so that you don't feel so sluggish, so that you no longer have that crippling anxiety, so that when you walk into a room, you don't have those feelings of doubt. So that away, so that to, for, towards. Makes sense? See what I'm doing? This is the pain pleasure. And so you guys have read all these books. There's like the negative thing they don't want. There's the positive things they want. But sales, I said day one, is about creating an association. And when people can associate their deepest desires, needs, wants, goals, and desires to you, your product, your ideas, your service, you'll create an association. They'll be anchored. They'll be anchored in the fact that them doing thing gets them what they want. Does this make sense? And so the bridge is language. These are some of the linking phrases. Yes? Creating a link. So you might be go home tonight, you like leave here and you're like, I don't want to go to the gym. You're like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym so I don't feel like a fatty, which will allow me to have more energy, to feel more confident so that I can, have amazing love with my wife or whatever the thing. Use these on yourself all the time. Get it really clear every day, like what are the goals that you want? And then you got the thing that you need to do. You know what? I don't feel like I should learn this. I'm so overwhelmed. Actually, you know what? I'm going to push through so that I can help more people, which will allow me to be a master of the thing that I'm already doing called communication, but also allow me to make more money in a meaningful way. What would that mean to my life if I was able to do that? So use these on yourself to get you to do the thing that you don't think you can do. We're using language as a habit to expand your own reality and look at the limitations based on conditioned patterns inside your mind and emotions, but they can change, yes? Repetition and intensity. But there comes a moment where we need to do the thing. These words need to inspire action. What's the word? Action. No action, no risk, no Rari. We got to take some new action. So, 4 linking phrases. So that, in order to be able to, allows you to, means to you, or you could even end in a statement, or what would that mean to you? You learning this would allow you to have more mastery over your communication so that you can not only make more money, that's a given, but also help more people. Because there comes a point in your life when you realize that behind every dollar you make is a life changed. What will it mean to you to look back on your life 20 years from now and realize that because you learned the skills here today, you got everything you want? And it all started with mastering communication, didn't it? Future pace, anchor. See what we're doing? We're combining all the things. Yes? Yes. I know it's a lot. So do you guys think that you would, if you had more time to focus on just these things, do you honestly think that you'd make more money? Yes. A little bit or a lot? A lot. So what you're telling me is, if you don't take the time to master these things, it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you potentially millions or tens of millions of dollars if you don't master this. Is that what you're telling me? Yes or no? I'm really asking you. Yes or no? So what's the smart, because this is a smart room, yeah? So what's the smart thing to do? What? Give it to me, what? Hey, why though? Why? You don't have to. You don't have to master this stuff. You just go on like all the other douchebags who just talk. And those people, where are they going to be a year from now? Nowhere. So why don't we want to be like them? Why not? Because you're not a douchebag? Why else, though? Why else? Because look, it's not easy. The easy thing is to do nothing. Why do you want to learn this? What would it mean to you? What would that allow you to do?
Everything I want. It would mean to me.
Do you really believe that? Are you sure?
Transform our lives.
See, we're doing the thing, yeah? You guys get it? And there's one thing to have people teach you like a textbook example. For me, like I learned, like I needed to see the thing, I needed to experience the thing, and Chase has a way of communicating, like teaching like this, and I'm showing it to you as I'm doing it to you, so it's undeniable. Even though you know that I'm doing the thing, you still are experiencing the thing. Does it make sense? Yes. Is this cool? Yes or no? Yes. I just thought it was fascinating, and so when I wanted to learn and teach it to people, it's like I could learn the textbook thing, but I was like I didn't really believe, and then I saw something, I was like, and then I don't know what they're doing, and I was like, man, I wanted to be able to like make this real, and so this is how I make it real for you. Make sense? Yep. Yes. It's undeniable. And also, am I having fun up here, yes or no? Yes. I know that it can feel overwhelming, but I want you, like there's all this, I was mentioning to this lady back here, levels of energy. Like if you're in a different vibe, like automatically, like if you just enjoyed sales more, you would automatically become better at sales. If you just enjoyed talking to people more, you would do it more, yes or no? Yes. And so hopefully I'm communicating to you that this is also a lot of fun. And I know when it comes like money, your self-worth gets tied into it, like this, all of that stuff. But you're not enjoying it. Or it feels like you're taking advantage of somebody, or you feel like it's your self-worth, or you minimize your worth to your offer or what you do. You're more than all of that. But it's just communication with yourself. So we come back to this over and over again. But you getting to a place around money, and I love, Tony's got this book, obviously I'm a big Tony fan, but he called it Money Mastered the Game. Like what if we treat it like it was fun? Like this process of communication. Am I having fun up here, yes or no? Yes. Yeah. Do you think that affects my sales? Yes. Yeah. People like being around people who are grateful and fun, and like they want to do stuff. I want you to enjoy your business. I want you to enjoy talking to people. I want you to enjoy selling people. I want you to feel good about asking people for money. Like to really bring that to your conversation, it'll awaken something up inside of you that'll be magnetic and attractive, and people will vibe with that. That's the harmonic resonance that Chase was talking about. It's not about just memorizing more techniques, though you probably should, yes or no? Yes. Yeah, because it helps to actually have something to say. You got to say something. And so it's good to this, but like I want you to feel good about doing it. I want you to know that it's not like you're taking advantage of people, whatever that stuff is. It's not attached to your self-worth. It's just ways of communicating, like energetically and emotion. And I want you to embody that. That it's just conditioning it. And you all have this available to you, but you got to lean into your edge. And I'm not asking you to just lean into your edge today. I want you to lean into your edge every day for the rest of your life, because you're going to feel more alive, and you're going to have fun, and you're going to be proud of yourself. You guys with me, yes or no? Yes. Awesome. We got a couple more slides. 3 levels of compliance. And so one of the things that you do, and this could be on a sales call, Chase talked about compliance. Oh, can you give 2 more minutes? Yeah. Awesome. Guys, are you guys having fun? Yes. So compliance, there's physical compliance. Guys, wave at me. Write this down. Turn to your neighbor. Physical compliance, do the thing. There's verbal compliance. There's verbal compliance. If you guys are getting it, say I get it. You guys are getting it. And then there's mental compliance. Even right now, as you guys are listening to me, taking those notes, you might begin to think about a time where you have the ability to actually use these skills. And I don't know if it's going to be a conversation with your family as you think about that, or your next client. But somewhere inside of you realize, if you really were to picture it, you could see yourself doing more than you have been. Can you all get a sense of that in your mind? Yes. So I'm getting, you're getting people physically compliant, verbally compliant, mentally compliant. Make sense? Yes. I know it's weird. I'm doing the thing as I'm teaching you the thing. And so aligned adversary, basically I just taught you this already. I talked about, me, you, we, they, often. So like I, you, we, they. And one of the things that I brought up right in the beginning, we call it us versus them in the classic NLP language. We call it the aligned adversary. And so you'll see it if you follow every political person out there. They're like trying to create an enemy. And classic marketing is us versus them. You guys see it. There's those people out there. I did it several times. But part of what unites a group is creating this alignment with your tribe. And Chase talked about this. Tribes are really powerful, yes or no? Yes. What makes tribes bond even more? Having an aligned enemy. Because there's douchebags out there who will use language to take advantage of people. But we're here because we really want to do what's required to help more people. That's why you're here, isn't it? You guys are my people. We're the same. Unfortunately, there are people out there, just script readers, people who won't commit to actually mastering anything. And those people give the entire industry of sales a bad fucking name. But it's us who are willing to do the work and make the commitments are the ones that actually change the world. Yes? Yes. We're doing a thing. Symptom versus cause. This will be the last one I share. Symptom, I gave you guys this one earlier. Do you feel that money, that you not having money is a problem? Or is it the symptom of a bigger problem? See what we're doing? So we're labeling it's a cause and effect pattern. Not having money is never an issue. What? Provocative statement. It's a symptom of a deeper issue. There are trillions of dollars circulating throughout the United States today. Every single day. Some people get a lot, some people get a little, some people aren't getting their fair share. And the fact that they're not able to get money when they know that it matters more to them is a symptom of their self-worth, their lack of skills, or the fact that they're not willing to bet on themselves. It's a deeper issue. Which one of those feels more aligned inside of you? And if we change that, you would have more what? More what? So we're changing the cause-effect relationship. Does it make sense? Did you guys have fun in this session? Yes. Do you guys think about language and frames a little bit differently now? Yes? 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 Awesome. And so without further ado, I know I went a little bit over, but it was awesome. I've geeked out on these frames so much. And, again, to kind of toot the same horn, when I saw Chase do what he did, I was like, well, that's different. That's different. And he operated with such flow because he was operating on even deeper principles than what I'm giving you, like really to the core. And as it relates to frames, no frame, like none of this framing stuff will work if you have an impoverished self-frame. You will collapse under pressure. You will, in that pendulum, you will collapse or over posture, all based in fear. So how do you have this closer composure? How do you expand your frame? You need to understand the four corners, how to expand it, and really be that grounded pillar of strength for other people so you can actually help them. And so the best in the world to help you with that, Mr. Chase Hughes. Awesome.